Visit Kia.com. And by Kellogg's, the best to you each morning. When Zach Greinke looked back on 2009, he said his best start was against the Seattle Mariners, and he threw a one-hitter. Not much drama. That single from Kenji Jojima came in the second inning. Certainly wasn't an overpowering start for Zach, as he only struck out 5, but you can't argue with a one-hitter against a major league team. Going up against the Mariners tonight, here's the Kia scouting report.
Well, magic number is 3 tonight, Ryan. Zach has won his last 3 versus the Mariners, and Kansas City, as a team, will be trying to win their 3rd consecutive. No second thoughts. Opponents are hitting .303 the second time through the lineup, so that's where Zach is really got to bear down tonight.
Here's the Mariners lineup presented by M&I Bank, and really no changes for the Mariners tonight, as opposed to the lineup from last night that didn't get a hit against Kyle Davies until the 6th inning. It's also a good lineup for Zach Greinke, because up and down this lineup, these Mariners have done nothing against him except for Ichiro Suzuki, who hits .375 against Greinke. And, of course, Suzuki had a role in last night's game as Kyle Davies took a no-hitter into the 6th inning, and then this little infield single to the right side ended up being the only hit that Davies gave up all night. Royals and the Mariners, the first pitch is next. Warner Cable, where HD is free with digital cable. It is United States Navy Night at Kauffman Stadium and United States Navy Week in Kansas City. And in the second inning, we're going to be talking to Admiral Michael McLaughlin about the commissioning of the USS Missouri. For now, let's go check in with Joel Goldberg, who's out in right field.
Well, Ryan, an interesting perspective tonight will be from the Mariners bench. Mike Sweeney not starting, but he says there are 3 people that he keeps in touch with the Royals. Zach Greinke, David DeJesus, and traveling secretary Jeff Davenport. He says loves to follow everybody's progress, the progress of guys like Alex Gordon and Billy Butler. He thinks Billy's going to be a great hitter in this league already is. He thinks that Zach, he said, is the best, and then he stopped, thought for a minute, and said, well, one of the best, because they do have Felix Hernandez, and that's one of his teammates as well. But he says he remembers dressing these guys as rookies. Now they are the face of the franchise. As for Mike himself, he said he's still playing for a chance to play in the postseason, something he regrets that did not happen here, guys.
All right, thank you, Joel. And Ichiro Suzuki goes after the first pitch, and Mitch Meyer all the way back to the warning tracks. That ball might have carried on him a little bit, although there really is no wind right now. So 1 pitch, 1 out for Zach Greinke. Royals on defense tonight, presented by Suzuki. Posednik and Mitch Meyer in center field again. Rick Ankiel out for his 3rd straight game. Same 4 around the horn, and Jason Kendall has been back at the plate for all of Zach's 5 starts, with his 5th being tonight. A little bit low on Sean Figgins, who was 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts last night, so he checks in tonight at 179.
Wow, that's very unfamiliar territory for him, Ryan.
1 ball, 1 strike.
Talked to him a little bit during batting practice, and just trying to see whether the change, how big the change difference would make, going from a team that's been winning to a team that all of a sudden you're in the same division and you're supposed to help this team overcome the team you've been winning. And he felt the biggest change for him so far has just been getting used to his teammates and getting used to playing second base. He said by playing third, you're so reactionary. You're going to be quick here, quick there. And at second, you have to slow yourself down because he kept running over balls and being over aggressive. And now you're starting to figure it out.
Well, and as you have pointed out so many times, that it's easy for a player to say that, you know, moving positions on defense doesn't affect their hitting, but it affects their hitting.
I really think so. And if you watch the way he's going now, I mean, he's been able to get some walks, but now he's starting to strike out a little bit more, and that's where the concern comes from. He's always known for having a good eye, and it looks like he had a pretty good eye on that one, too.
Rung up by Tim Cheetah, the crew chief. And that is the 22nd strikeout already for Sean Figgins. So 2 down, and now Franklin Gutierrez. He was hitless last night, did walk twice, and his first walk coming in the 4th inning with 2 outs, and that was the Mariners' first base runner against Kyle Davies.
You know, that's the one thing about a player who's struggling. If he's a guy that's supposed to get on base and get things going, if he's walking and he seems like he's on base all the time, you don't really pay much attention to his hitting. But then when the strikeouts start to pile up and he's not on base, then that's when you start having some concerns as to whether he's trying too hard, pressing too hard, even though they don't want to admit that. But, you know, it's got to be something inside of you that you want to come in and make a difference right away. And when you do that, sometimes you put yourself on the other side and you get out of your natural abilities and what you've been able to do throughout your career.
You can see this Mariners lineup has done very little against Zach Greinke as Gutierrez fouls it away. Especially the very top of the order, the first 4 hitters, with the exception of Suzuki, have really struggled against Zach. Much more pleasant night tonight than last night. No rain, no wind, some blue sky, 62 degrees. We started right on time. And the time and temp brought to you by the Parking Spot. Easy to spot, easy to park. The Parking Spot at KCI. Still 2-2 on Gutierrez. Zach looked a lot like himself from last year when he took a no decision Wednesday at Toronto, giving up just 2 hits in 7 innings. Because of a blown save, he didn't get the win, but the Royals won the game. Sliced up the right field line, and DeJesus unable to get it. Zach only made 1 mistake in that game. He hit Fred Lewis, who was down in the count 1-2, and then Alex Gonzalez hit a 2-run home run, and that was it. But the Blue Jays tied it against the Royals bullpen in the 8th, and then Alex Gordon put the Royals ahead with a home run in the 10th. To right field, and DeJesus Jogging onto the warning track. That's the inning. 3 up, 3 down against Greinke in the first. For the first time this year, Trey Hillman's lineup is presented by M&I Bank. And no changes from last night's game. The Royals with 3 runs, 8 hits against Seattle, and still lead the major leagues in hitting at .296. Facing 28-year-old Ian Snell. Here's the Kia scouting report.
Very smooth delivery, Ryan. 90 to 96 miles per hour on his fastball. Slider has a good sharp late break, but needs to be aggressive and get ahead in counts in order to get deeper in the ball games.
David DeJesus has the most experience against Ian Snell, and that's just 6 at-bats. Snell pitching in the National League for his entire career until being traded over to the Mariners last year. And the Royals faced him after he went over to Seattle. And Snell beat the Royals at the end of August. Only went 5 innings, gave up a couple of runs. He has been fighting a bacterial virus lately, so he has not made a start in 9 days. Also had to leave the team for a while because of a death in his family. So trying to bounce back, and he needs to bounce back because it appears right now that when Cliff Lee returns to the rotation, Ian Snell might be the odd man out.
It's awful hard to argue with Cliff Lee coming back into your rotation. I mean, that's a guy you really wait for to get back. You can't wait for him to get back, and I'm sure they're glad to have him back as early as he's coming back.
Snell is not very big, at least by today's pitcher standards, listed at 5'11". So he isn't a big guy, but he has a big arm, and that fastball coming in at 94 miles an hour. DeJesus last night 1 for 5 and an RBI. And a shot up the middle. So DeJesus has his 8th hit of the homestand.
And David continues to swing the bat well, and the one thing about David is he's hitting the ball square right on the sweet spot, and he's hitting it right back where it's pitched, right back through the middle, and he gets the ball down and in, he pulls the ball away, he's hitting down the left field line, so he's seeing the ball really well right now.
Adds to his .291 batting average and gives way to Scott Posednik, who still leads the American League with his batting average at .385.
I talked to Scott before the game, Ryan. Last year we sort of watched him, and when he was with the White Sox, how he used to get the happy feet in the batter's box, and I was asking, what was that all about? He said when he's not feeling good, when his hands are not going back, he does that to try to get some rhythm and create some separation and make his hands work. And I said, so I would assume now your hands are in good shape. He said, yeah, they're fine right now.
Just look at the numbers. Normally the number 2 hitter isn't someone that you lean on to drive in runs. But if 385 doesn't impress you with his overall batting average, with runners in scoring position, he is hitting over 500. 2 balls, 1 strike.
He said he just likes to be quiet at the plate, and he wants to throw the bat head to the ball. He wants to take as much body out of his swing as possible and just try to use his hands and let his hands do all the work.
DeJesus has attempted 1 stolen base this year. He was successful. The Royals with 18 as a team, but they're without a stolen base in 6 of their last 7 games. David running, and a ground ball is going to get through the right side. So Figgins going over to cover, and that left the right side wide open. 1st and 3rd, nobody out.
Well, that's what happened, Ryan, when you don't position yourself so that you can let the ball pass the hitter before you attempt to go take the throw from the catcher. David breaks, and when David breaks, Figgins breaks with him, and now this ball does not hit very hard at all, but hit behind him, and he's got to try to retrace his steps, and this wasn't quick enough to not keep his ball on the infield.
So the Royals with a chance to score in the 1st inning again, as they did last night and the day before against Minnesota. 2 hits, including a home run for Billy Butler last night, his 2nd of the year. And Adam Moore saving a run by pulling that one out of the dirt. So Billy thinking RBI, the Mariners thinking double play. And Billy is grounded into 6. Two and 0.
Base runners, Ryan, don't normally like to run on 2-0, but this is a good time for Scott to steal second base, because the chances are they're not going to pitch around Billy, because Jose's swinging the bat well too, so you don't have to worry about him walking Billy in that situation, but you want to stay away from that double play if you can.
And he comes right at Billy. 2 balls, 1 strike. Let's look at the Mariners defense. Sponsored by Suzuki, which features Suzuki and his 9 gold gloves in right field. Lopez, Wilson, Figgins, and Kochman. Very good defensive infield. And Adam Moore, who is sharing time with Rob Johnson behind the plate. 3 balls, 1 strike. And Snell in trouble already. Walks have been a problem for him. And the last thing he wants to do here is walk Butler and have Guillen up with the bases loaded, nobody out. Posednik runs, Billy takes ball 4, and that's exactly what happens to Ian Snell. Let's go down to Joe Goldberg.
Well, guys, Jose Guillen coming into this story had 4 home runs and 10 RBIs with 2 strikes on him, most in the American League. I asked Kevin Seitzer about it, and he said that Jose shortens up. He doesn't try to do too much. He quiets down the bat, just uses his hands. He said the sucker is strong, and it's an approach he thinks that guys can do, even if it's not an 0-2 count, even in a 2-0 or whatever it is. Sometimes guys get too defensive, sometimes too aggressive. It's tough to do, but Jose is very good at it, guys.
All right, thank you, Joel. Ball 1 outside from Snell, and you know that seems like that's what the good ones do, is that they slow the game down. They simplify things in situations like this, where the younger player does what we say so often, tries to do too much.
Way too much. Force them to chase balls out of the strike zone, and Jose's a good hitter when he gets ahead of the pitcher and can sit on his pitch. That's when he drives the ball.
So Snell has really backed himself into a corner now. Jose driving in his 18th run, which leads the Royals last night, and his 2nd in the American League. He Also a second in the league with 7 home runs. Making Snell throw a strike. It's 2-1.
Well, it looked like he was taking all the way there. That's a situation right there where you can be selective. You can get your pitch, and if it's not what you're looking for, you just let it go.
Challenged him and blows a fastball at 94 right by him, and we're even at 2-2.
Okay. Yeah, let's see if he goes to this 2-strike approach. And with Ian Snell throwing 94, he's really going to have to slow his body down and get those hands moving a little bit faster to catch up with that fastball.
And staying back, late swing, and fouls it away. You remember, I remember, when Mike Sweeney was blossoming as a young hitter, and Lamar Johnson convinced him to stay with this 2-strike approach at the beginning of his at-bat because he's strong enough where he wasn't losing anything.
Well, I just remember so many line drives in the right center with 2 strikes. I mean, he was a great 2-strike hitter.
I mean, Jose is that type of player, too. He could shorten up into his 2-strike approach early in the at-bat and still have enough power to hit all the extra base hits.
Especially when you're trying to hit the good fastballs. Good. You always tell hitters the harder the pitcher throws, the more you have to slow down, the more you have to try to be quicker. Where you try to meet force with force, your bat slows and the ball speeds up, and that's why you don't hit the good fastballs. The guys hit the good fastballs are the guys that shorten their swing, get into the strike zone a lot faster, and don't try to muscle the ball.
Struck him out. Nasty pitch down and away, so Snell comes back after falling behind 2-0, and that's a big first out for him.
Well, this pitch here is unhittable. I mean, you can swing at this one all day, and you won't hit this one. This is down below the strike zone on the outside corner. And then when you have to reach for a ball, chances are you're not going to have any type of success if you make contact.
So they're loaded up with 1 out for Alberto Callaspo. Alberto 0 for 3 last night. Did reach with a walk. Batting at .293. He is grounded into 3 double plays. And he's ahead in the count, 2-0.
Jose worked Ian Snell to 2-0 in his at bat and took the 2-0 fastball right down the middle. I really think you got to be ready to hit here. I don't think you can afford to go deep in the count and look for a walk. This is when you want to try to hurt the pitcher, and this is your best opportunity.
Popped up. Lopez in front of his own dugout, and there are 2 down. So from the bases loaded, nobody out, to the bases loaded, no runs home, and 2 out.
Yeah, really not the type of swing you want to take 2-0. 2-0 is a pitch that you know you want to try to jump on, and if you foul it off, then Ian Snell's got to know that, hey, he was trying to do something with that pitch. There he forced Alberto to try to reach a little bit, didn't get a full swing, and he popped up.
So it's up to Jason Kendall, 0 for 4 last night. A couple of former Pirates hooking up here. Didn't play together in Pittsburgh.
I said before the game today, Ryan, that last night it just felt a little jumpy. You know, sometimes as a hitter, you know, you don't just feel quite relaxed and you kind of jumping at everything. And then in the end, he says, well, the guy on the mound might have had something to do with that.
Easier said than done to go up there and relax against Felix Hernandez.
Yes, sir.
And now the shoe is on the other foot. The Mariners trying to relax against Zach Greinke. 1 ball, 2 strikes. So Ian Snell gives up back-to-back singles to DeJesus and Pasednik, and then walks Billy Butler. It's been a long inning, but he's He's one strike away from getting out of it. The Royals have other plans. Kendall shortens up with 2 strikes and takes a pitch down and away, 2-2. Snell coming back and striking out Guillen and getting Callaspo on a foul pop-up. Still 2 balls, 2 strikes. That fastball at 96. So Snell coming up on 30 pitches, and that's something to keep an eye on because in his first 3 starts, he has only gone 14 innings. So if you average that out, that's less than 5 innings per start. And he's using a lot of ammunition in the first inning tonight.
That's usually Kevin Seitzer's philosophy, is just see how many pitches per batter you can force him to throw, and they mount up late.
Back to Snell. So it cost him 29 pitches, but he gets around, the bases loaded, and does not allow a run in the first inning. United States Navy night at Kauffman Stadium, and that is Admiral Michael McLaughlin, who's going to join us in the top of the 3rd inning and talk about the commissioning of the USS Missouri. Well, a much easier inning for Zach in the top of the 1st and Ian Snell in the bottom of the 1st, but the same final result. Royals coming up empty against Snell. Mariners down 1-2-3 against Zach. Jose Lopez 0 for 4 last night, and just 1 out of 14 against Greinke. Backhanded by Betancourt. 1 away. Hey, don't forget to visit FoxSportsKansasCity.com to see interviews from last night's game. Watch Kyle Davies explain how he feels about his 6-inning outing. See it now at FoxSportsKansasCity.com. Very comfortable night at Kauffman Stadium after a rough one last night. Cold, windy, rainy. Not tonight. Ball 1 to Ken Griffey Jr. 1 for 4 last night, off to a .220 start. Still looking for his first home run of the year. 1-1.
When you look at Fox tracks here to Zach, If he's going to be like this all night, he's going to be tough. I mean, he's just driving the ball down to the top of the strike zone and just above the knees on the outside corner. And when he's there, then it should be a good night for him.
Slice to left, and Pasetnik sprinting to the line makes the play in foul territory. Jim Timmons, the third base umpire, had to think about it for a while. And Pasetnik arriving at the line and making the catch in foul territory.
But you always look at the catcher's glove and you look where the pitcher throws it. Hits another ball down, just where Jason Kendall wanted it. Griff is a little late on this fastball, Brian, and just a little lazy pop up the left field.
Oh, 0-1 on Milton Bradley. Tried to get the Mariners started in the 9th inning last night. Had a 1-out double, came around to score. And Bruce Chen retiring Ichiro Suzuki with 2 on, 2 out to pick up his first major league save, and the Royals winning 3-1. One ball, 2 strikes. Two and two. A couple of fastballs up and into Bradley.
Yeah, I think Zach feels like he can beat him inside. He stayed inside to hold it back. He's got him to 3-2 now. So, do you challenge him right down the middle at this with the fastball he's got tonight, or do you try to go back to your slider to strike him out? Good fastball, might as well use it.
Broke his bat into shallow center, and it drops in front of Mitch Meyer. He went with the fastball, and that's the Mariners' first base runner tonight.
So he actually broke the bat of Bradley with this fastball, which means he really got a lot of good life to it. He hit it just above the trademark, a little slow on the swing, and just that bat breaking was enough to have that ball drop in for a base hit.
And now Casey Kochman, who was hitless last night. Didn't do anything at the plate, but he turned in his 203rd consecutive errorless game at first base. And now he and Kevin Youkilis are the only first basemen in American League history that have more than 200 straight errorless games at first. Youkilis with the major league record at 238, which has since been snapped, and now Kochman at 203. So brought on more for his glove than his bat, but of all the new Mariners, he's been the most productive with 14 RBIs. That ball's belted to right and just foul.
Where Zach was down on Bradley on pretty much every pitch in his at bat, he's been up on Kochman in his first 3 pitches. The first 2 above the strike zone, and this was up but in the strike zone, and Kochman was looking for it. So when you're looking for a pitch on 2-0, that's what you should do with it right there. You should really get to it, and if you hit it a long way foul, he knows you get to his fastball.
Bradley had a very short lead at first. 1 stolen base. He's been thrown out once. Not running. And it's 2-2 on Kochman. Got him with the slider. Zach strikes out his second. Mariners scoreless in the second. has helped his team the most so far. Yuniesky Betancourt, Alex Gonzalez, who is now at the Blue Jays, Derek Jeter, or Marco Scudero going from the Blue Jays to the Red Sox. Text 432-432. Enter keyword Royals, a space, followed by A, B, C, or D. Alex Gordon after the first pitch, and that's a fair ball over the bag. Alex into second with a double. As soon as that ball went over the bag and called fair, it looked like Kochman looked to his own dugout as if he did not agree with that call and wondered if someone was going to come running out.
This is fastball that Alex rolled over on, and this ball has to be real close to the bag, so it doesn't have to be. It can go over the bag and land foul and still be a fair ball, but this was really close to the line.
Looked good from that angle. So runner at second, nobody out. And ball one to Mitch Meyer. 1 for 4 with a run last night. Getting his third straight start. Rick Ankiel still bothered by the right quad as he suffered on Saturday night against Minnesota. Royals need to do something here. They had the bases loaded with nobody out against Ian Snell in the bottom of the first inning, but Snell struck out Guillen, got Callaspo on a pop-up, and Kendall with a ground ball back to the mound. To the right side. Kochman very good with the glove, smothers it. So Myers out, a productive out as Gordon moves up to third base. And that brings up Yuniesky Betancourt, who is the subject of tonight's League Leaders, brought to you by your Kansas City area Toyota dealers. And Yuniesky Betancourt leads all American League shortstops. Those are also the 4 subjects in our You Call It. He is hitting a .347 after getting 2 more hits last night, including his 3rd double of the year. He has driven in 7. Mariners started with the infield back, and then everyone but shortstop Jack Wilson came charging in as the pitch was delivered.
Well, that's where Yuni's got to show a little patience here, Ryan. Just get you a pitch. Don't hit the pitcher's pitch. And when he chases balls like that, that gets him in trouble. With 2 strikes like it is, now he's got to try to take the ball the other way. Just try to put it in play and get it through the infield.
Out of play.
So Yuni got a break on that pitch, Ryan. I'm sure now they want to throw that ball right down the middle of the plate, and that's a ball that he really could have gotten to the outfield and really helped himself, and he fouled it off.
Trying to get something up that he can hit to the outfield. Not going to get it done with that pitch. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Over the corner. So Snell has come up with some big pitches, in trouble in the first 2 innings.
Well, you'd like to think these pitches are too close to take with 2 strikes, and that showed about 2 balls inside off a Fox track, and that's a tough one for any hitter to hit. But when you get to 2 strikes in this situation, you just don't want to even put it in the umpire's hands. If you can get the bat on it with 2 strikes, you better try to put it in play.
The Royals are getting their hits against Snell with 3 in less than 2 innings, but just not getting him home, and now they need a 2-out hit. Ball 1 on David DeJesus, who picked up his 8th hit of the homestand, and this is the 5th game of the homestand. Single to center, then Scott Posednik single to right. Billy Butler walked, and they were loaded up with nobody out, but Snell got out of it. 2-0. So David right at 300. Another bullet to Kochman, and again, Snell gets out of it. The Royals have stranded 4 in the first 2 innings. And we're talking about the commissioning of the USS Missouri. This is my brand new attractive cap, and we're joined by Admiral Michael McLaughlin, who is in charge of the commissioning of the USS Missouri. You got to throw out the first pitch tonight.
I did. That was about the most exciting thing I've done all week.
Tell us about the commissioning of the ship. We've learned a little bit about it because Boulevard is also a sponsor of ours, and they're very close to the commissioning. They're one of the major sponsors of the commissioning. But, you know, there's christening a ship, there's dedicating a ship, there's building a ship. What is commissioning a ship?
We have a lot of traditions, don't we? And Boulevard Brewing has been just great to us, too. Commissioning on 31 July this year, be up in Groton, Connecticut. It's when the ship is officially turned over to the Navy. So we're very happy to receive it. It's when we say the ship comes to life. We crew it and it's ready to go out to sea.
Mariners get a double to begin the third inning from Adam Moore. That's the second hit against Zach Greinke. And, of course, the history of the USS Missouri going back to World War II, and that ship was decommissioned. I'm getting my facts straight. I think, back in the 50s?
Oh, don't put pressure on me.
Okay. But the new USS Missouri is a submarine, right?
She is, right. She'll be commissioned. She's the 7th Virginia-class submarine to be commissioned, and she'll be the 5th ship named after Missouri.
Okay. Now, we were at a function during the winter, some of us from Fox Sports Kansas City, and someone who is in charge of building these submarines was talking about some of the capabilities of, firing missiles from the Gulf of Mexico into, rival sports bar and hitting Joel Goldberg if they wanted to.
If we had to, we could. I would promise you that. It's a tremendous ship. It's not small, so it's 377 feet long. So if I put her bow on your home plate, her stern would stick out the stadium. I mean, she is just big, 7,800 tons. That's a lot of ship and steel. Yeah.
Well, Emily, you keep referring to USS Missouri as she. Now, how does that come about?
That's just a great tradition throughout the ages. From sailing ships, they've always been referred to she. So sometimes we try not to talk to it in terms of she, but I don't think I've ever been able to break the habit.
Okay. Now, if I got my facts straight, that you are in charge of the fleet that the USS Missouri will be joining when it's commissioned?
That's correct. I'm Commander Submarine Group 2, so all the attack submarines on the East Coast work for me. So that's about 26 submarines.
Okay.
And Missouri will join us up in Groton, and then she'll operate out of Groton.
Okay, so 26 attack submarines. So that makes me feel pretty good as an American there. We got 26 of those out there.
We're very proud of every one of them,
okay,
too.
So,
That's exactly right.
Makes me feel safe in little old Lake Winnebago, Missouri, when I hear that.
Well, you're not protected there.
Okay.
What's the average stay when you go out to sea?
Well, we deploy for 6 months at a time, always. And then we're limited to stay underway by about 90 to 120 days. And that's limited by food. So when we deploy, we'll go out for 6 months and go out to the forward operating areas, whether it's out in the Pacific or the Persian Gulf, and then we stay submerged about 90% of that time. So we like to stay underway, and we like to stay under the water too.
And the commissioning of the ship is more of a private venture, right? I mean, that's why someone like Boulevard gets behind it.
That's why we're very proud to have Boulevard Brewing helping us, Parisian Coffee also, that we, the Navy, only pay for the actual commissioning ceremony itself. And all the other parts that go on with the commissioning are paid by private funds. And so we partner, we being the submarine crew, partners with the local communities, in this case the state of Missouri, to pay for all that. But what I think is even more important is that that's when we build the bond between the ship and the people of Missouri. And so we had several others. Jefferson City is probably the closest to here, that there's a bond between the city of Jefferson City and the ship USS Jefferson City, which is a Los Angeles class submarine.
Okay, so it's more than just a name then. I mean, there really is a connection with the state and the ship.
Absolutely. We try to send those crews, at least part of them, back to their home state or their home city at least once a year, just to say hi, to show off our sailors. The state or the city will sponsor the ship, help celebrate our Sailors of the Year, Sailor of the Quarters, our top performers. And so it becomes a bond that lasts forever. The ship will be around for at least 30 years, and so it's here to stay.
Wow. That's what we hear about, that, the importance of this, that for those of us who live in Missouri and those who are watching tonight, aside from on a satellite or in a 5-state region, but for those of us who live in Missouri, that this will be the last USS Missouri of our lifetime.
I think that's true to say. That is absolutely true to say.
Are you enjoying the game?
I am. This is just fantastic. What a great night. And like I said, the people of Missouri has just been fantastic with us. I've never felt more welcomed coming in. So that portion has just been fantastic. And I'm also here for the Navy Week. And so if you wanted to get some more information, you look at NavyWeek.org, where we're doing the Kansas City Navy Week. The Navy sponsors 20 Navy Weeks a year. In this case, we picked Kansas City, Missouri. And we have bands, sailors will come out that are from the city, and then we try to interact again with the community and again establish those bonds.
Is it your first trip to Kauffman Stadium?
It is, and it's fantastic. What a view.
Now, here's a human interest type of a question. I'm sure a lot of people wonder about life on the submarine. Frank asked a question about the length of stay. Is that something that someone in the Navy typically can be trained for, or is this the type of job where it takes a special person to spend that much time underwater?
Well, we're an all-volunteer force, and so if you want to be a submariner, you volunteer for it. And I've never seen anybody that's had any issues or any problems staying on the boat that long. Of course, I'd like to think that our submariners are the top notch and the best the submarine force or the best the Navy can offer. And I think that's true in a lot of ways. But they all go out there and they all love it. It's just a great time.
Is there any difference when let's say you go out for the 6 months and then you come back to land, and when you first step on land, is there a different feel after being on the submarine that long?
There's a great feel of it, but it's not so much because you're stepping on land, but that you get to see your wife or your spouse or that significant other. So, I mean, that's the true best part. We don't rock and roll like the old sailing ships did, so we don't develop what are sea legs. I've had sea legs before, but not on a submarine. So, yeah, that first step back into port's great, but it's not because of the land.
Now, and the submarine has to be very quiet, right? I mean, so some of the floors are floating inside the submarine.
That's correct, right? We're going to give you your submarine qual.
Well, I paid attention when I went to the Boulevard dinner during the winter. I was fascinated by that stuff.
It is. Our submarines today, out at sea going as fast as they can, are quieter than the submarines of yesterday, sitting in port shut down and not doing anything. They're absolutely quiet. It's the best technology and the best our nation really has to offer. So the technology is fantastic, and the weapons that we can bring to the fight are also fantastic too. Like I said, the Tomahawk missile and our torpedoes, special forces. It's great.
Well, with 2 outs, we want to make sure and wrap things up with you so we're not abruptly ended by the game. But we want to thank you, Admiral, for spending some time with us. And,
thank you very much.
Want to take another look at your first pitch today before the game. And you're a lefty, first of all. And you went from the rubber. That's a big deal.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm hoping my sons didn't see it. He's a much better baseball player than I am.
Well, thank you so much. Congratulations. And we're certainly proud to be Americans, especially with people like you out there leading this fleet of submarines, and certainly proud of the upcoming commissioning of the USS Missouri.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Admiral Michael McLaughlin as Zach gets around to lead-off double in the 3rd inning. League of Kansas City. She was selected as a point of light in 2003 by President Bush the Senior, and her community involvement started when she built a basketball court in her backyard to allow girls the opportunity to play. So congratulations, Nancy. Hope you're enjoying the game tonight as we go to the bottom of the 3rd inning. And Scott Posednik, followed by Billy Butler and Jose Guillen, coming up against Ian Snell, who has really walked along the edge all night tonight, getting around the bases loaded, nobody out in the 1st, and a runner at 2nd, nobody out in the 2nd. Posednik's single moves his average up to .394. Two balls, 2 strikes. So the Royals with 4 base runners in the first 2 innings, but all 4 stranded. Posednik kind of shuffling his feet at the plate, and the count is full.
A lot of times he'll do that with 2 strikes. I mean, with 1 strike, when he wants to do that bunt thing he does, and if it's the right pitch, he'll do it. If it's not, he'll let it go. We've seen him do it 3-1. We see him do it, with 2 strikes on him. So you just never know what he's going to do.
On the hands, and 1 hop to Figgins, 1 away. Just a reminder to look for the Miller Lite Taste Greatness moment later in tonight's game. So the leadoff man is out for the first time against Ian Snell tonight. And here's Billy Butler, who walked with runners at first and third and nobody out in the first, and it looked like the Royals really had something working. Snell got out of it, and now Billy singles to center with one out.
The thing that Billy does right there, Ryan, is that he doesn't try to pull this ball. This ball's away from him, and he just stays right on it. It's right up the middle. If he tries to pull that ball, he gets himself in trouble. But just hit it where it's pitched.
Hooked over to third, and Lopez only play is to first. Jose Guillen is 0 for 2. Butler moves up to second base, and there are 2 down. Well, ladies, come out to the ballpark on Friday, May the 14th. Royals and the White Sox. It's the first girls' night out presented by Celsius Tannery. Going to offer tons of great pregame entertainment and pampering. Plus, the first 10,000 ladies through the gates will receive a Royals t-shirt and then stay after the game for a fireworks spectacular. Proceeds from the event benefit Susan G. Komen for the cure of Greater Kansas City. So a couple of guys trying to redeem themselves in this inning. Jose Guillen, with the bases loaded, nobody out, struck out in the first and now grounds out here. And then Alberto Callaspo, with the bases loaded, 1 out in the first, fouled out to third. And now he's got Butler down at second base with 2 outs. Two and one. Yeah, on one hand, Royals not getting the runners home right now, but Ian Snell, who has a reputation of being quite a competitor, is really hung in there.
He really has. That bases loaded situation he worked himself out of showed a lot of character that he does have, and he gave the Royals some good pitches to hit. They had a little life on him, and they couldn't center him up, and he was able to walk off the field.
Drilled to center, but it stays up for Gutierrez. Royals with 5 runners in the first 3 innings, all 5 stranded. Salad, sandwiches, and breakfast items at Panera Bread. So still no score at the end of 3. Zach Greinke has allowed 2 hits. Ian Snell has given up 4 hits and a walk. Gutierrez flied out to deep right in the first inning. And Zach nails the outside corner, 1-1. Zach is 3-0 against Seattle. He has pitched in 8 games. A couple of those were out of the bullpen. And his ERA coming into the game was just 2.14. Gutierrez with Seattle's 3rd hit tonight.
Zach seemed to be having a lot of success with his fastball, and there he left a breaking ball out over the plate, and Gutierrez stayed with it and drove it back through the middle. But both pitchers tonight have really shown the ability to work through some tough situations, and a lot of times you get through a couple of those and you off and running for the rest of the night.
Fouled away by Jose Lopez. Grounded out to short in the 2nd inning, grounding out to Yuniesky Betancourt, his former double play partner with the Mariners. Lopez coming off a career year, slow start this season, but that kind of sums it up for the Mariners offense. Hoping for more offense after finishing last in the American League last year in runs scored, last in on-base percentage, last in slugging percentage. Went out and got Sean Figgins and Milton Bradley, Casey Kochman. Mariners 12th in the league in runs scored so far. They are last in home runs.
And those guys you named, Ryan, aside from their offensive potential, defense was also a big part in the guys they selected in the free agent draft also.
It hit him. Nope. Foul ball. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
This is one of those maybe off the bat and then off the catcher. Right off the side of the little toe. They don't have any protection there. I tell you, catchers are amazing people.
Still 1-2 to Lopez. Their low home run total also has something to do with where they play and the time of year. It's been a warmer April than normal, but still the ball doesn't carry now like it does in the middle of the summer. And Safeco Field in Seattle, especially this time of year, is a pitcher's ballpark. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
I know hitters here, all the years I played here, Ryan, they complain all the time about the size of this ballpark. You know, Big John and some of the guys, that hit 25, they lost a lot of home runs on the warning track in this ballpark.
Some of that changes, though, in June, July, and August, and that wind starts blowing out of the south, right?
Yeah, that's when the jet streams come, and you got to make hay.
Very tough sky. It's that time of night where the ball can be lost in the sky, but Betancourt gets Lopez again and 1 away. Final game of the series is tomorrow. Gil Mesh going for his first win against Ryan Roland Smith. Ivy Royals Live begins at 12:30. The first pitch is at 1:10. And with more on that, here's Joel.
Well, guys, Ken Griffey Jr. coming up. Always fun to catch up with him. And when we do, he loves to talk about his kids. The kid talking about his kids. And he's got 3 of them. His youngest son is playing football and is now a quarterback at 8 years old. His oldest son, Trey, he says is now 6'2", 185 pounds. He's 16 years old. He says he grew 5 inches and 35 pounds since last August. And maybe the most accomplished would be his daughter, who's in the middle, Taryn. She played on a national championship AAU basketball team last year. How's this for Bloodlines, guys? That team also featured the daughters of Delino DeShields and former NBA players Antonio Davis and Dee Brown. So I think that team's pretty good. One other thing, we know Junior's always working on some pranks. Can't reveal all the details because you know that Mike Sweeney has people watching right now, but Sweeney, he says, is a target, guys.
Well, one of the best ones I had heard of was started by Griffey last year when Don Wakamatsu comes over in his first year as manager. And I don't know if it was the whole season or just the beginning of the season, but he made it mandatory for the guys to wear neckties on the days that they would travel. So Griffey went out and had ties made with Wakamatsu's face on them, passed them out to the entire team, and that's what they wore on the team plane.
Yeah, he told us that when we were in Seattle last year, Ryan. And you know, this is a guy that will go after Ichiro. He will go after the manager. It doesn't matter who it is. Everybody is fair game, because let's be honest, Ichiro may be Ichiro, but this is Ken Griffey Jr. here. He can do whatever he wants. And as far as those ties go, I think he's got a deal or something with the company, because all it takes is him to say, give me a picture, the ties are done.
Still trying to wonder what he was trying to do with Ichiro there.
Well, I never heard about Ichiro needing to loosen up, but I did hear a lot about Ken Griffey Jr. loosening up Ichiro last year.
I was in there once last year. He just picked him up and walked around the clubhouse with him.
Milton Bradley singled to center in the second inning. Into shallow left, long run out for Betancourt. In comes Posednik to make the play, and the Mariners are down in the fourth. Still no score. Scott Posednik's play, running down a fly ball to end the top of the fourth inning, getting around a leadoff single. Here's a Roadrunner Turbo speed pitch comparison. Ian Snell and Zach Greinke right at 96. Double your speed with Roadrunner Turbo from Time Warner Cable. Jason Kendall grounded back to the mound in the first inning. So he is now 0 for his last 9. He'll be followed by Alex Gordon and then Mitch Meyer. The cleanly shaven Jason Kendall.
I investigated that today.
Okay.
And it wasn't what we thought last night. Normally you think, well, they're trying to break a hitting slump, or maybe the missus came into town and says, hey, you need to shave. You know, it wasn't that. He said he was trying to shave, and he went a little too far.
Okay.
So he had to go ahead and take it off. He didn't.
Now that's Jason Kendall right there, right?
Yeah, I think he was trying to tighten it up a little bit and just took the wrong turn.
3 balls, 2 strikes. So it was beyond repair.
Beyond, kind of like Billy's haircut, you know. Someone made the wrong move and they had to take it all off.
Well, another base runner for the Royals. Ian Snell walks his second. There we go. Now, would the real Jason Kendall please stand up?
Not even close, is it?
Yeah. Second walk given up by Snell. And the Royals with their 6th base runner. They have stranded 5. Alex Gordon doubled, and that was leading off the second inning. Mitch Meyer grounded him over to third. But then Snell got past Betancourt and DeJesus, with Gordon stranded at third base. Talking about the walks and a leadoff one here to Kendall, and like a lot of guys with very strong arms, control can be an issue, and it has been for Ian Snell. A couple of years ago with the Pirates, he had the 2nd most walks per innings pitched in the entire National League. That's a lot of free base runners.
That's a lot of defense under pressure also. I mean, it's hard on your defense when pitchers walk a lot of guys, and you know, you got to really stay on your toes. You got to really stay in the game. But the more you walk guys, the deeper counts you throw, the more your defense get on the heels. And then all of a sudden here comes a bullet right at you. You're not ready for it.
1 ball, 1 strike. Gil Mesh and Ryan Roland Smith for a 1:10 game tomorrow. Coverage begins at 12:30 here on Fox Sports Kansas City. And then a long road trip. The Royals are gone for 11 days to Tampa Bay, Chicago, and Texas.
Well, Alex might not be one of those guys that Trey would hit and run with. He's got that hole open over there, and he's probably hoping Alex can pull one out of that hole and create a 1st and 3rd situation.
Well, his double in the second inning was right up the right field line. Shot it past Casey Kochman, one of the better defensive first basemen in the league. That gets through Adam Moore. So here we go again. Runner at second, nobody out. It's 2-2 on Alex Gordon.
Well, Alex had a couple pretty good pitches ahead. Even the double, it was a ball that was really trying to move away from him a little bit, but rather than going with it and trying to drive it to left center field, it kind of rolled over on it. And he had some luck on the double down the line. But that's a ball that you just want to stay through and just try to stay with it and try to hit it in the alley.
Haven't heard a ruling yet on whether that was a wild pitch or a pass ball. And now they just announced it was a wild pitch. And Moore saves another wild pitch. 3 balls, 2 strikes on Gordon. Struck him out, and that was probably ball 4. 3rd strikeout for Snell, and Kendall still at second base.
But this fastball's running away from Alex, and he still has to pull the ball to the right side on his mind. But that's the pitch that's got to go ahead and just try to drive it as deep to the outfield as you can and try to get him over that way. Kind of hard to force things, especially when the fastball's that fast and it's running up and away from you.
Ball 1 on Mitch Meyer, grounded out sharply to Casey Kochman in the second inning. Kochman was really a target in the second. Gordon doubled by him. Meyer hit a bullet right to him, and then DeJesus hit a sharp one-hopper right to him. 2-0. Got the corner, 2 balls, 1 strike.
Very unhittable pitch here. Not a lot Mitch can do with this ball. I mean, that's a pitcher's pitch all the way.
Two and two. So 6 base runners for the Royals, and 5 of those have been in scoring position. Drilled into the right field corner, hooking, and it stays fair. The Royals are on the board. Meyer is on his way to third, and he is in there with an RBI triple. 1-0 Royals.
Mitch does a good job on this fastball right down the middle and really gets good wood on it and pulls it, keeps it fair right inside the line down the right field line, and easy score for Kimball. And there's no doubt in Mitch's mind he was going to go for 3 on this one, Ryan.
Now once again with Betancourt at the plate. The infield is back, but as the pitch comes in, the infield comes charging in, so they've done that to him twice. Maybe trying to get in his head. And Betancourt, sorry Frank, with the runner at third, 1 out in the second inning, with the Mariners doing that, ended up striking out.
I've seen that before, but this is when Uni's got to be patient. He chased the first slider down and away with the infield in like this. You don't want to hit that pitch. You want to have Snell make a bigger mistake. And you just don't want to chase pitches like that with a runner on third and the infield in on the corners, because they want to slow the ball down, try to get you out front, and that's what happens right there. You roll over, hit a ground ball in the corner, and the guy on third can't score.
With the infield in, there's no way with that pitch he can get underneath it and hit it to the outfield.
He's got to stay behind it and drive it to right center field if he wants to. If he tries to pull it, then that's what happens. You roll over and hit weak ground ball.
So 2 down, and David DeJesus. He has 2 very good swings against Snell tonight. Lays off the slider, which is in for a strike. Singled sharply to center in the first inning, and then hit a rocket on 1 hop to Kochman in the second. So he is right on Ian Snell. He had been 0 for 6 against Snell coming into the game. Little low, 1-1. Royals just missed Ian Snell when they were in Pittsburgh last year. He had just been sent to the minor leagues. He wasn't happy about it at all. But in his first start in AAA against Toledo, he walked the first hitter and then struck out the next 13. So that was his statement to the Pirates that he didn't belong in the minor leagues. And as it turned out, he didn't make his way back to Pittsburgh. He got traded to Seattle. How about that? 13 straight strikeouts.
Never seen that. Never heard of that.
That was a big story. When the Royals arrived, it was Ian Snell and his frustration after spending parts of 6 years in the big leagues going to AAA and then taking that frustration out on poor little old Toledo.
He probably said, "You guys are old enough. Take this beating."
To left field, and Milton Bradley is there. The inning is over. Royals finally break through against Ian Snell. Mitch Meyer with his second triple of the year, drives in his third. 1-0 Royals. out in the bottom of the fourth inning. Ryan Lefebvre along with Frank White. And I don't want to get too excited about this now, but there were several starts last year, and Zach still won the Cy Young. He would have run away with it even more if he had better run support, and now run support is an issue again for him this year.
It sure looks like it, Ryan. And here, this game could easily be 3-0 rather than 1-0. So he's always pitching under stress, and that's not good for any pitcher to have to go out there and do that. So what kind of leads to maybe the offense knowing that we don't give Zach enough support. They get in that situation where you can give him support, and then you don't get it done. So maybe they're trying a little bit too hard for him.
Well, Zach at 3.65, and imagine where he would have been last year if he had Luke Hochaver's 7.82 or Gil Mesh's 6.39, or for that matter what Bannister and Davies are getting. But Royals with many opportunities tonight, only the one run. Zach retires Casey Kochman to begin the top of the fifth inning. Kochman is 0 for 2.
Wow. That could be 7.82 runs per game. He might have won 22 games last year.
Well, Mike Swanson, Royals vice president, who has been in media relations since the earth cooled, crunched some numbers last year and figured that if Zach had CC Sabathia's run support, that he would have won something like 23 or 24 games last year. And if Sabathia had Zach's run support, he would have won 13 or 14 games. And as it turned out, it was Sabathia who had 19 and Zach had 16. There's Swanee. Bundled up in the press box.
The Royals had a great opportunity in the first inning, really, to put Zach at ease and get some runs on the board, and just didn't get the job done. And as much as you don't want to think of it as a pitcher, as much you want to just go out and say, I'm just going to go pitch. When you get those early runs on the board, it's got to make you feel good about going out there. It makes things a lot easier for you as a pitcher. You feel like you can make a mistake and not be the end of the world.
And that's probably what Zach was imagining when the Royals had the bases loaded, nobody out in the bottom of the first. Adam Moore is down, and Zach has struck out 4.
He's really throwing the ball well. And you can get that pitch. You can get that pitch a ball and a half on the outer half of the plate, and you really can't fault the umpire for that, because I think in 2 strikes, that ball is hittable.
Got some late movement there to catch the outside corner. That's a familiar sign from last year. And then there were some fans that were hanging Z's to symbolize Zach's strikeouts. Wilson to center. Meyer is there. Jack Wilson 0 for 2. And the Mariners down quickly in the 5th. TNT trivia question. Who has the most hits in a decade? Was it Pete Rose in the 70s, Wade Boggs in the 80s, Rafael Palmeiro in the 90s, Ichiro Suzuki after the turn of the millennium? Now, those are the guys who had the most in that decade, but who had the most hits of those decades? And I've been told to zip it. That's exactly what I'm going to do. So if you want to take on the wrath of the truck and throw out your guess, you go right ahead, Frank.
I'm going to follow the leader.
Posednik 1 for 3, flying out to left field. Now, I have a thought about Suzuki in right field, but I'll keep that to myself for now. Billy Butler has walked and he has singled to center field. It has not been an easy night for Ian Snell. You look up on the scoreboard and you see 1-0, and you think pitcher's duel, and in some ways it is, but the Mariners haven't been able to get anything going against Zach, and the Royals have had quite a bit going against Ian Snell. They just haven't been able to come up with the hit, except for Mitch Meyer's 1-out triple in the bottom of the 4th.
He's just been good enough to pitch himself out of trouble. He's gotten in trouble, but always seemed to make the pitch to get him out.
Billy continues to swing the bat well against Seattle. We talked about that at the top of the show tonight. 2 balls, 2 strikes. We were also discussing earlier in the game how Seattle Safeco Field is a big ballpark, which plays to Billy's game, gap to gap. Doesn't hit a lot of home runs, at least at this point in his career, but 51 doubles last year.
That's very impressive, Ryan, 51 doubles.
That is his 2nd hit tonight and his 4th in the series.
You know, that's kind of how it works a lot of times too. You have a guy who's just pounding out doubles after doubles, and as they mature in the game, a lot of those doubles become home runs. And here Billy just takes he can pull those hands in and get the fat part of the bat to the ball that's down on the inner half, and he does a good job here of just forcing the ball out over shortstop. But I think in time, as he starts to develop and mature a little bit more, get a little stronger, I think he will start to hit more home runs.
0-1 on Jose Guillen, who is 0 for 2, including a strikeout with the bases loaded, nobody out in the 1st inning. Well, as far as Billy goes in the minor leagues, he had 30 home runs in 05, 25 of those at High Desert, and in that league the ball really carries. But then 15 in Wichita. He had 21 in 07. That was 13 at Omaha, 8 with the Royals. A combined 16 at 2 levels in 08 and 21 last year.
So he's on his way.
Guillen strikes out again. That's almost the identical pitch that Snell got him with back in the 1st inning.
Yeah, just a little too aggressive with 2 strikes. Other than being an excellent slider and a great place that Jose really can't get to, really just swinging a little too hard. Just right on the block, down around the knees. Just a tough pitch to try to pull. You got to go with that pitch if you want to try to foul it off. But that's just how Snell has been pitching. You know, get himself a man on base, all of a sudden he comes back, got the right guy, make the right pitches, and he's out of trouble again.
0-1 on Callaspo. He fouled out to 3rd with the bases loaded, 1 out in the 1st, and then lined out in the 3rd. Drilled into right center. Suzuki was shallow, and it's going to sail over his head. Butler coming around 3rd to score. Callaspo going for 3, and the Royals have their second RBI triple of the night. It's 2-0.
All we can say about this is that the Seattle Mariners really haven't been watching Alberto Castro from the left side this year. He's really produced a lot more pop to be played that shallow in right field. And this ball gets by Ichiro in a heartbeat. And Billy's just chugging along. He's got everything into this. A good turn at third, right down the line. Scores easily.
You know, as I'm watching him run, I know Billy's not the fastest guy on the team. He's in a good running form.
Yeah, great form.
He looks like a guy who runs well, doesn't he?
Make good turns.
He runs well for a first baseman. Snell slipped, but throws out Kendall, and that's the inning. Royals with 1 in the 4th, and now 1 in the 5th for a 2-0 lead. Your power equipment, powerful, lightweight, dependable, versatile. Yard Care Solutions start at SteelDealers.com. And by Chevrolet, come see for yourself why 1,000 people a day are switching to Chevy. See your Kansas City area Chevy dealer. Beautiful night in Kansas City. In the low 60s at first pitch and a beautiful sunset. Billy Butler coming around to score on Alberto Callaspo's triple. Billy with 2 hits and a walk tonight. So Zach Greinke with a 2-0 lead. He's retired 9 of the last 10. And he jumps ahead of Ichiro Suzuki, who is 0 for 2. Going to answer our trivia question. Well, I would have been wrong. Ichiro Suzuki of the 70s, 80s, 90s, and 2000 of those decades, and the hitter who had the most hits in the decade, who had the most of the 4, it's Suzuki. I would have been wrong because you have to remember he didn't start until 2001 with Seattle, so he missed a whole year still playing in Japan in 2000, and still had more than Pete Rose in the 1970s. Who was in the 80s again? Wade Boggs in the 80s, Rafael Palmeiro in the 90s. Suzuki is, in a way, chasing Pete Rose, going for his 10th 200-hit season. Suzuki has 9 straight. No one's ever done that before. Willie Keeler, with the famous phrase, hit 'em where they ain't. He had 8 straight 200 hit seasons, and Suzuki passed him last year. Stays back on the curve and finesses it out into shallow left field. And I think only Ichiro Suzuki can do that.
I'm glad you said that because I really can't explain this swing. It's like it's close to the plate, so let me just get the bat on it. I mean, look at that.
I mean, we could put that on the list, Frank, but I don't think you can put a swing on the list that results in a base hit, can you?
I mean, this is not even close to being a strike. It's up over his shoulders, and he just his body's gone to first, and he's reaching back to hit the ball to left field.
Looks like a little kid swinging at a piñata at a birthday party.
That's just pure magic.
Expecting the candy to go flying everywhere after that swing. 1-1 now on Sean Figgins. 0 for 2 tonight. 0 for 6 in the series, and now he is 2 for his last 31. And he's hitting a .174.
Well, you think with his ability to bunt, you think at some point he try to perform a bunt base hit. Just try to break it up a little bit, and don't just keep going up and just swinging away. And right now, his swing just looks a little too long. Just need to shorten it up a little bit. But sometimes a bunt base hit for a guy that can run kind of get you going again. Of course, with Zach, he's got to make it a good bunt. He can get off the mound and field his position.
Still 1-2. Zach, without a walk, he has struck out 4, including Figgins back in the first inning. Two balls, 2 strikes. Figgins with a slow start, that hurts the Mariners on a couple of fronts. First of all, his hits, the potential of driving in runs, and then when he's on base, his speed and putting some pressure on the defense. This is a guy just a few years ago stole 62 bases.
I think early in the season, even though he wasn't getting the hits, he was at least getting on base. He was walking, and it seemed like he and Ichiro were on base a lot. But now the strikeouts are starting to come, and he's not on base. And now he's just starting to stand out a little bit more.
Suzuki runs. Figgins strikes out. Suzuki is out.
Suzuki had a great jump. You saw him look in to see what happens with the ball, and he was thrown out by quite a bit by Kendall. He gets the ball and gets rid of it quickly.
That wasn't even close.
When you look at the break that he got, you thought that was going to be bang at most at second base. He had a great jump. Kendall had a good ball to handle to his backhand side, and he came up over the top and got rid of it quickly.
Slow curveball is in there. 1-1 on Franklin Gutierrez. He is flied to deep right and singled to center. One ball, 2 strikes. Still 1-2. T-shirt Tuesdays are back. This season's series will get off to a great start on Tuesday, May the 11th. First 20,000 fans receive a T-shirt featuring Zach Greinke. And it's the first of 6 T-shirt Tuesdays throughout the season. So get your tickets now and collect all 6. Royals.com or 1-800-6-ROYALS. 2 balls, 2 strikes. You know, with Kendall throwing out Suzuki, I asked him, you know, and he is throwing well. And Jason Kendall, he's had some years where he's struggled throwing out runners, but when he is right, he's had some good years recently. He says it's a matter of him slowing down. Here's so much about catchers saying they need to be quick. Not for him. He says he has problems when he's trying to be too quick with his feet and his release. He needs to slow it down a bit.
Well, I kind of agree with that. You know, in the Twins series, he had a couple opportunities to throw out runners where he tried to be quick and bobble the ball and didn't get the throw off at all. So that's right in line with what you're talking about. And here he makes sure he gets a good grip. Then he can be quick after he gets the grip, but not before you get it. So it's. I don't think I've ever heard a catcher say that. You know, that he needs to slow down. Because they always kind of conscious of the release time and the runner that's running, and the release time of the pitcher to the plate, and they're trying to make up if the guy's slow. Sometimes that'll speed him up, but if he gets it, you know, he's shown the ability to get the ball and get rid of it, and he did a great job there.
There you go. No swing. It reminds me in kind of a strange twist of when Johnny Damon was with the Royals. He didn't have a strong arm, but he was quick to the ball, quick with his release, which was the equivalent of having a strong arm. And Jason Kendall doesn't have a rocket for an arm, but if the release and the feet are quick, it's the time, right? It's not necessarily the strength of the arm.
It's just you know, how fast you can get rid of it.
Right to Alex. 6 scoreless innings for Zach Greinke. Got some help with a double play in the 6th. Sean Figgins strikes out. Jason Kendall guns down Ichiro Suzuki. Pretty good, and it might get him to open up the wallet. Major League Baseball and People Magazine are looking for individuals who make a difference in their community. 30 everyday All-Stars will be honored at the 2010 All-Star Game in Anaheim. To nominate, go to peopleallstars.com. Alex pulls it into the corner, just foul. Royals fans up the right field line thought that landed right on the line. Not so, says first base umpire Bob Davidson.
Well, Alex also had a good look at it going down the line, so he would complain.
Oh, pretty close.
That's real close from this angle for sure.
1 ball, 1 strike. Alex doubled back in the second inning, leading off the inning. Got to third with 1 out. The Royals couldn't get him home, and then Snell struck him out in the fourth. 1 ball, 2 strike. That's a pitch that really could determine how productive Alex Gordon is going to be. When he's having trouble, he's chasing that pitch low and away.
They're just not real staying with it and trying to drive it. Just goes to a certain point and pulls off of it, and that's what makes it hard to hit.
Reaching into right center field, and Gutierrez is there. 1 away. Tonight's copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Kansas City Royals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Kansas City Royals Baseball Corporation. Ryan Lefevre with Frank White, Joel Goldberg, with producer Kevin Shank, director Steve Kurtenbach, associate producer Sam Abramson and Al Broughton, and the producer of Royals Live is TJ McGinnis. Royals runs tonight have come on RBI triples. Mitch Meyer in the fourth inning scoring Jason Kendall, and then in the fifth, Alberto Callaspo's triple scored Billy Butler. Three and 0. And now Ian Snell moving up on 100 pitches. Right-hander Sean Kelly is throwing behind him. 3 balls, 1 strike. Walk number 3. Don Wakamatsu got 7 innings out of Felix Hernandez last night and used Sean White for the bottom of the 8th. Didn't need a pitcher in the bottom of the 9th with the Royals winning. Trying to get at least 6 out of Ian Snell tonight. And now Yuniesky Betancourt 0 for 2, and very painful 0 for 2. As both times he's come up with a runner at third and 1 out, and is struck out and grounded to third.
But he's also up in one of his favorite situations, Ryan, the hit and run situation. He's been able to be successful in that department. But Mitch does have the ability to steal his base, but that's just another option that manager Trey Hillman has.
Mitch Meyer kind of taking on the Scott Posednik stance as he leads off over at first base with everything shifted slightly towards second.
I think that's the way Rusty Kuntz, I think that's the way he teaches base running and base stealing, and it just gives guys a clear path to second base. They don't have to cross over and stand up. They can stay down through and be in their maximum speed. And they also, with the weight on that right leg, they can also have the ability to push back to first base.
There's Rusty. Are those earplugs, or is he listening to Denny and Bob?
Got it.
Well, he's got his game face on, that's for sure.
So he's got to stop watching his hand. He's probably going to time the catcher's release to second base.
Not running. And ball 1 to Betancourt. Uni, one of the subjects of tonight's You Call It, presented by Sprint, 75%. I think that his work at shortstop has helped the Royals more than Alex Gonzalez, the Blue Jays, Derek Jeter, the Yankees, or Marco Scudero, the Red Sox. Can't say I disagree with that. Those are 3 very good players, but I don't know if they have impacted their team the way Betancourt has for the Royals so far in the field and especially at the plate.
Well, with both of those, Ryan, and he's also impacted himself. He's really a different player at this point now than he was last year, and that's all the positives for everybody involved.
Hit hard to center, sinking on Gutierrez, and it's going to drop. So Betancourt 1 for 3, and the Royals have 2 on with 1 out.
It's just a little bit different approach with men anywhere but third base. You know, that's the approach that he takes right there. The ball is down, it's away, he stays with it, hits it back through the middle, and gets himself a base hit.
And 1 out. Remember, if you're traveling this summer, you can take the Royals with you. Just subscribe to MLB.tv, and you can see every Royals game live or on demand right on your computer. Local in-market blackouts apply. Visit Royals.com to order and get more details. MLB.tv, baseball everywhere. Sean Kelly on for the 5th time. So Ian Snell goes 5 1/3. He leaves behind Mitch Meyer at second base and Yuniesky Betancourt at first. Kelly has allowed 11 base runners in just 5 1/3 innings. Off speed for strike 1. David 1 for 3. That's tonight, and 1 for 2 against Kelly, and that one hit was a home run. With 1 out, Mitch Meyer walked. Betancourt singled. No balls, 2 strikes. That pitch appeared to cross up more, but able to hang in there long enough to get it called a strike.
They wanted it to come down and in, but the ball kind of backed up a little bit. They did a good job of showing the glove to the umpire, and that's how he got that call. But Tim's been around a long time, so he's made that call a lot.
Center field, Meyer tagging, and the throw goes into second base. So first and third with 2 down, and Scott Podsednik coming up. Well, the way Zach Greinke is pitching tonight, it looks like 2 runs might stand up. But the Royals on offense have to be asking themselves, you know, what might have been tonight with a well-placed, well-timed hit earlier in the game. Royals have stranded 7. Zach is at 96 pitches. The Royals hoping to get him through 7 at least. And hoping to add on here as Posednik thought about laying one down with 2 outs and a runner at third base.
Yeah, that's a big insurance run there at third base. And, you know, Zach probably wouldn't know what it felt like to pitch with a 6-run lead or a 7-run lead.
2-0. Posednik 382 overall. With runners in scoring position, he hits over 500, and the Royals need that tonight. Look at that. 1 out of 13. So they've had runners everywhere. But only 2 have revisited home plate. Posednik is 0 for 3 against Sean Kelly. Two and 2. Posednik, originally from the Rangers organization, back in '94, was a second-round pick, drafted by the team that he grew up rooting for. But he got to the big leagues with Seattle. And the Brewers, then the White Sox, the Rockies, back to the White Sox, and now the Royals. He is down on strikes. The Royals leave 2 more on base. They have stranded 9 through 6 innings. In the 5th inning. Greinke at 96 pitches. They'll get Jose Lopez, Ken Griffey Jr., and Milton Bradley in the 7th inning. Lopez 0 for 2 tonight, and he is 1 for 16 against Greinke. 1 ball, 1 strike. So the hits for Seattle: Suzuki in the 6th, Gutierrez in the 4th, Bradley in the 2nd, and Moore in the 3rd. Off the end of the bat, it's going to have a lot of spin on it. Billy grabs it and goes to the bag, and Lopez could have run a little harder up the line there. 1 away.
Probably trying to figure out what I have to do to get a base hit against that. Feel a little heavy running down the line.
Yeah, but I'll tell you, the way that ball was spinning, though, Frank, I mean, you know, as an infielder, you know, Billy, it looked like Billy realized that Lopez wasn't running hard, but if Billy would have charged that and got it when it was still in full spin, and it kicks off of his glove.
Yeah, I think that you can see the spin on the ball when he hit the grass, and you got to go hard until the ball is secured.
Ken Griffey Jr., nothing out of 2. No balls, 2 strikes. Josh Roop going behind Zach, who is now over 100 pitches. So in some form or another, this game will be in the hands of the bullpen. Zach lost his potential first win of the year on Wednesday at Toronto because of a blown save in the 8th inning. So he is still winless. At this point last year, Zach was 4-0 with a 0 ERA. 4 starts, 4-0, 0.00 ERA. He had allowed just 1 unearned run. Ended up going 6-0.
And where do you go from there? I mean,
over Callaspo's glove. So Griffey 1 for 3. And a runner at first with 1 out.
you take a look at this pitch here, and you take a look at Griff's swing. See how long it was, and how he had to reach out to get this pitch, and he was able to still get the good part of the bat on it and get the ball over the head of Caspo at second base.
Slider for a strike to Milton Bradley. Singled in the second inning. Flied to left in the fourth. Well, he had Bradley, it appears, expecting something out over the plate and wasn't ready for that slider up around the shoulder.
He's been crowding him pretty much all night. He got the base hit to center on a broken bat that he got in on it right above the trademark, and he just went throwing the slider, the cutter, and the fastball in on his hand.
He went around. Doesn't agree with third base umpire Tim Timmons. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
What you got right there is Milton is trying to cheat on something inside. He wants to make sure he gets it out of there. And you realize, okay, this is going to be up, and it's not going to be a strike, but you've already committed everything to this swing, and you just couldn't hold up.
Set up inside again, and misses inside at 95. So Zach over 100 pitches, and still running it up there in the mid-90s.
Well, trying to get this one to come back, catch the inside corner if you can, but this one stayed well inside. So after pounding him inside so hard, you think the outside would be open, but Jason Kendall's just going to stay in there.
Left that out over the plate. Callaspo knocks it down, and then the ball. Royals might have a play. Will Bradley make a move towards second base? There's a few steps up the line. I don't think he did or not. But anyway, Bradley and the ball both arriving at the same time, and the ball coming loose.
Well, let's see how Billy sets up on this. He should have his right foot on the bag, and on this. He says he has a step right in the baseline, and Bradley hits him on the way back. So if he could stretch a little bit toward the throw rather than being square to the throw, see, he has a step across his body, and that puts him right back in the line right there.
Now, did he make a move towards second base, or did his momentum just take him that far to the left of the line?
I guess not.
So 2 on, 1 out. And as the ball rolled away from Billy Butler, Griffey stopped at second base. He was over at third, just talking with third base coach Mike Brumley with the visit to the mound. So he's back to second. And 2 on, 1 out for Casey Kochman.
Yeah, that was a tough play for Castro, but a better throw, he might have had him at first base. He just had it too much into the baseline.
Over the mound, at the bag, and out at second base. Don't know if there was enough on it to turn the double play. Bradley going in hard just to make sure. So 2 down, runners at first and third.
Well, a little bit better communication between Betancourt and Casper right here. This Bradley almost took 2 guys out on the same play. See, Zach tries to go up, but he realizes he can't make this play. Now you got 2 guys there. So one's got to call one off. So now he takes out 2 guys at one time on the same play.
And now the catcher, Adam Moore. He doubled against Zach, leading off the 3rd inning. But the Mariners didn't get him home. They didn't get him to third base. Biggest threat the Mariners have had against Greinke so far tonight. Two balls, no strikes. Zach up to 112 pitches. And that would be a season high. 2-1.
Well, Zach got this pitch early in the game too, Ryan. He showed his end well off the plate, but with that grid being at the front of the plate, maybe it's catching it. Maybe it's a strike to a certain point. Then it fades off inside when Kendall catches the ball.
3-1. That grid and Tim Cheetah have not been getting along for the better part of the game.
Just for our listeners, Fox tracks on the side, everything stays the same, and it adjusts to the height of the hitter on the top and bottom. And the grid that the ball goes through is set up at the front of home plate.
Great pitch on the corner. So if you're Adam Moore, you're hoping you get something to hit on 3-1, and Zach drops this on you. And now the fans trying to cheer Zach home to a final strike and a final out of the 7th inning. It's the first time all night the Mariners have had more than one base runner. We'll do it again.
Adam Moore wishes he had that pitch back. Zach missed his spot. He wanted it away, and he got it down the middle of the plate. He had a good swing at it, but didn't hit it. But after that 3-1 pitch on the block, he's got to remember Zach can't hit that corner. But you can see where Kendall wants his ball, and you can see where he went. So he missed a good opportunity to do something with that fastball right
there. Again, pretty hittable fastball at 92. Still 3 balls, 2 strikes. Jr. at third base, Casey Kochman at first. Kochman runs again and jammed in bat, and that's out of play. May have cost him a bat. Moore had never faced Zach before tonight, and he doubled in his first at-bat. Zach struck him out in the 5th. So they're even so far. Here's the payoff. Line to right. DeJesus is there. Inning over. 7 shutout innings for Zach. And a 2-0 Royals lead. 7 scoreless innings for Zach Greinke. Remember last year, he threw a 1-hit shutout against the Mariners in Seattle. Panera takes us around the American League. Minnesota improves to 14-6. Francisco Liriano is 3-0. Baltimore leading New York. They're in the 9th inning. Baltimore hasn't won at home yet. Boston has defeated Toronto. Blue Jays have lost 4 in a row. Billy Butler drives it foul off to the right field side. Zach with 119 pitches. Nobody warming up in the Royals bullpen right now. I wouldn't think that he would come out for the 8th with that many pitches. Especially after a long conversation with the manager. Usually if a guy is going to stay in for another inning, it's a short conversation. And that's that.
I think you said it right. That's that.
Good night for Billy at the plate with a walk, 2 singles, and he has scored a run. Butler and Kendall scoring tonight. Meyer and Cayaspo with RBI triples. Pass Kelly. Wilson behind second base throws out Billy. So Billy out for the first time tonight. And now Jose Guillen, who's had a tough night at the plate. Batted with the bases loaded, nobody out in the first, and struck out against Ian Snell. And Snell had fallen behind 2-0. Came back to strike him out. Grounded out to third in the third, and then Snell struck him out again in the 5th. 0-1.
Yeah, Jose right there, Ryan, just like he's just over swinging, not really keeping his head on those balls. Those are right down the middle of the plate balls that you would, if you don't square them up, at least you foul them off. But just trying to do a little too much right now.
And down quickly, no balls, 2 strikes. Jose hasn't had many hitless nights. He has 27, which is tied for second in the American League, and even going 0 for 3, still hitting .333. Drilled to left and deep. Bradley at the track makes the catch. Good trajectory, but it didn't have that good crisp sound.
But really, a pitch that I'm surprised they threw. They had the fastball. They was throwing that right by him, and without a foul ball, then they throw a breaking ball right into his swing, and that could have been a more devastating ball than it was. I just don't. It's just like those guys when they score touchdowns, they know what kind of dance they're going to do. I just get finding myself making a play on the field with the idea as soon as I make it, I'm going to shush the crowd. You know, there's a lot of thought process goes into this stuff.
I remember you doing that a lot in your career.
Yeah, my dad would have told me about it.
Alberto with his first triple of the year back in the 5th inning, driving in his 12th. Royals with a 2-0 lead, but they have left 9 on base. Feel like they should have a lot more than that. Alberto is out, and the Royals are down in order against Sean Kelly, who has retired all 5 since coming in the 6th inning. 2-0 Royals. Zach Greinke will not come out for the 8th inning. Predictably, at 119 pitches, he has 29 consecutive scoreless innings against the Seattle Mariners. Look at tonight's Miller Lite Taste Greatness moment, and it's really moments. 7 scoreless innings, no walks, 5 strikeouts for Zach against Seattle.
What a night for Zach. You got to put a star by his name tonight, Ryan. He did a good job moving the ball around, using all of his pitches, and in his final inning had an opportunity to bring the crowd to their feet and let them leave pleased.
So Josh Roop will get the 9, 1, and 2 hitters. Jack Wilson struck out against Zach, and he lined to center. Ichiro Suzuki on deck, and then Sean Figgins. One and one. So Trey Hillman still sorting out the bullpen, but as it stands right now, certainly the roles aren't cast in stone, but Josh Roop is his go-to man in the 8th inning. 1 ball, 2 strikes. With Joakim Soria unavailable last night, and after Kyle Davies allowed 1 hit in 6 innings, Trey Hillman used Brad Thompson, Dusty Hughes, Kyle Farnsworth, and Bruce Chen to close it out, and Bruce Chen getting his first major league save. Good start for Roop. 1 down in the 8th.
After throwing sinkers, here's a slider he leaves up, but it's on the outer half of the plate, and Wilson can't do anything with it. But I think managers would like to have a guy like Roop, or a guy who has a sinker ball that in a close ball game you can bring him in the 8th and not have that fear of the ball leaving the ballpark. And so if you're a sinker baller, you pretty much got to stay with it and not get hurt on your secondary pitch, which would be that hanging slider.
Suzuki 1 out of 3 with a very creative swing in the 6th inning on a big curveball from Zach Greinke. Just served it out into left field. 3 hits for him in the series. Mentioned last night, this is Suzuki's toughest month in his career. He only hits .295 in April. Lays down a bunt, and a good one. Jason Kendall doesn't even bother in the 3rd inning on a ball right out in front of home plate. Kendall threw out Suzuki. It's a 2-hit game, and that brings the tying run to the plate and Sean Figgins.
You know what Suzuki does here, he doesn't give it away early. He waits till the last moment, turns, and it's just such a touch bunt that Kendall had no play. You can watch here. Just didn't give it away too soon. I don't think he could have bunted it any softer. I mean, got it right out on the end of the bat and got it just out far enough on the grass. And it was all speed after that.
And now facing a struggling Sean Figgins. 0 for 3 tonight with 2 strikeouts. 0 for 7 with 4 strikeouts in the series. And over a longer stretch, he is 2 for his last 34. But he's ahead in the count 2-0 against Josh Roop. Well, if Joakim Soria is available tonight, and we assume that he is, Trey Hillman with no thoughts of anything more than a 1-inning save, because Joakim isn't warming up. It's Tejeda and Chen behind Josh Roop.
What you don't want to have happen here, you got a hitter at the plate that's struggling. And so you want to make that guy do something. You don't want to give him a free pass. You want to make him earn whatever he gets. So Roop has just got to come back and make Sean Figgins put the ball in play.
4-pitch walk. Bob McClure is going to come out and talk to him before Franklin Gutierrez comes to the plate. Well, this is how a young pitcher grows, and Josh Roop isn't necessarily a youngster, but he doesn't have a whole lot of major league experience, and especially in this role. I mean, he's admittedly been a mop-up reliever in his big league career, so here's a new opportunity for him, and if he's going to succeed at this, he's going to have to figure out a way to get through a little bout of wildness and get through this inning with the Royals still in front.
You're right, Ryan. It's not a matter of stuff. He's got the stuff. He's got the life on his fastball. He's got the good sink on his fastball. But he's in the arena of a lot of the guys in that bullpen that, okay, this is going to be new for all these guys, and they got to cut their teeth, and they just got to come out with the number one thing on their mind is those strikes.
And he's back with a strike on Gutierrez.
That good sink on that fastball, and that's all he has to do. You got to trust what you do best and pitch to the situation. 1 out, 2 men on. You need a ground ball. So throw that sinker. Try to get the ball on the ground. Try to get your double play and try to get out of this inning.
Sinking, but Gutierrez wouldn't go for it. It's 1-1. Gutierrez against Zach, 1 for 3. Against Josh Roop, 0 for 1 with a strikeout. 2 balls, 1 strike. Good start for Roop in this inning, striking out Jack Wilson, but Suzuki with a bunt single, and then Sean Figgins with a 4-pitch walk. So the tying run is on base, and that tying run can fly. And Gutierrez really helped out Roop there. It's 2-2.
That was definitely a chase pitch here. Josh really hadn't found the strike zone, and he did get a lot of help right there, but he's got to get that sinker up a little bit more at the knee and get the hitter to thinking it's going to be a fastball at the knee, and then have it go down from there and make it a little more enticing and get your ground ball.
Still 2-2. Think about a sinker baller in that last pitch at 96, which is impressive.
A little hard.
But if you're a sinker baller, you don't necessarily want to be on the top end of your velocity. Sometimes you want to be on the bottom end.
Right, you get up around 96, and that sinker starts to straighten out and becomes a straight fastball where you can take 2 or 3 miles an hour off of it and just let it play to your strength, which is to turn over and get the hitter to hit on top of it.
In some ways, I guess to describe it, a sinking fastball needs time to sink.
Right.
And if you throw it too hard, it gets to the plate too soon.
Well, it's kind of like Jamie Wright last year. Whenever he was a little tired, his sinker worked better. But when he had a few days off and got strong, and he was up to 94, 95, then everything straightened out for him and got hit.
Outside with the slider.
It opens up another can of worms here for Josh Roop with Suzuki on second base here. 3-2 count. And he has the ability to steal third base, and with these runners running, he hits the ball on the ground, there's a chance he can find an open hole.
Josh Roop thinking along those lines.
Well, he's got a lot on his mind now. He's got to think about Suzuki. He's got to think about throwing a strike.
And you can see Sean Figgins at first base. He is just watching Suzuki to see what he does. Not running. And it's grounded past Gordon and into left field. Suzuki will come around to score, and it's 2-1. And the Royals, perhaps, are lucky that the runners weren't going. Typically, a runner doesn't go first to third on a base hit to left, but we're talking about Sean Figgins, who might have enough wheels to go first to third if he was running.
If they're running on the play and the lead that he had at first base, he definitely would have got to third base. But you know, watch Alex. Alex slipped that first step slipped a little bit and gave that ball a chance to get by.
So our Chevy call to the bullpen brings in Robinson Tejeda to face Jose Lopez. Struck out the first guy that he faced in the inning. But a bunt single, a 4-pitch walk, and an RBI single. And the Mariners have made it a 2-1 game. So Robinson Tejeda with runners at first and second, 1 out, comes in. Jose Lopez coming up. And Tejeda has gone 8 1/3 innings, and with 12 hits and 10 walks, that's 22 base runners in 8 1/3. Mariners have Figgins, very fast. Tying run at second base. Gutierrez at first. Lopez against Zach Greinke was 0 for 3. Good sign. Strike one over the inside corner.
Figgins has 4 stolen bases, but has been caught twice.
No balls, 2 strikes. And when Tejeda was throwing strikes to right-hand batters last year, he was almost unhittable. Righties hit 125 against him. Back to Tejeda. Off of his glove and into center field. The Mariners have tied it as Figgins comes around from second base. Gutierrez goes to third, and into second base is Lopez. So Zach Greinke is going to have to wait another 5 days to get his first win of the year. The Royals suffer their 7th blown save of the year.
Well, Roberto's playing right behind second base, and that would have been an easy ball for him to get had it not went off of Tejeda's glove. See, if Robbie lets this ball go, if he knows Tejeda's there before the pitch is made, then he'll let that ball go, and he's sitting right in front of it. But when he knocked it off to Bert's right, to Bert's left, then he couldn't change direction and get to the ball. So you can see where he's set up right behind the bag. The ball's right over the bag.
And that really took the velocity out of the ground ball and ended up being a long run in from David DeJesus. And Lopez ends up at second base. So a little ground ball double into center field. Royals have the infield in now on Ken Griffey Jr. Below the knees, 2 balls, 1 strike. So just like infielders and outfielders have to take a look at one another and see where they're positioned, same responsibility for the pitcher before he delivers every pitch.
Well, if he looks back and sees him right over that, you've seen pitchers sometimes that go for a ball and all of a sudden pull their hand down because they know that there's a player sitting right there. So he lets that ball go, they got a chance for a double play and get out of the inning.
Griffey 1 for 3, singled against Greinke in the 7th inning. Three balls, 2 strikes.
So just take a look what Carrasco is. He's just only about 2 or 3 steps from the bag right there, behind the bag, not to the left, to the right of the bag from us, the left of the bag for him.
So that's probably a double play, and the Royals are out of the inning.
Well, you'd say you can't assume double play. They had a good chance. He's sitting right in front of him.
So they're loaded up with 1 out. And Milton Bradley coming up. Trey Hillman has John Parrish in the bullpen, so he's going to decide here that he wants Bradley to bat right-handed. So Bruce Chen in to face Milton Bradley with the bases loaded. Greinke, who departed with a 2-0 lead. Roop faces 4, Tejeda 2, and now Bruce Chen, who got his first major league save last night, will face Milton Bradley with the bases loaded and 1 out. So Bradley will go up there as a right-hand hitter. He has Gutierrez at third, who has singled in a run. Lopez with a ground ball double into center field tied the game, and now Eric Burns runs for Ken Griffey Jr. at first base. Griffey just walked. So the decision here to have Bradley bat right-handed, and he's hitting just 125 from that side. He had very good numbers against Robinson Tejeda. Bruce Chen got Ichiro Suzuki. The tying runs on last night. Faced one batter and got the save. Trying to jam Bradley and get a ground ball. 2 balls, no strikes.
Like they're trying to crowd him both from the left side and from the right side.
2-1. Before this series, Bradley had missed 6 in a row with a sore left calf. As a right-hand batter, that's his front leg. As a left-hand batter, it's his drive leg, his back leg. That is a foul ball by an inch, maybe less. So Bradley picked up on Chen, pitching him inside.
So I just got to open up a little faster and make sure you can get to it. But they haven't gone away from him both left or right all night, so that could be there for him. But the key thing right now, Ryan, is just make sure you keep the ball down and try to get yourself a ground ball. You know, the corner guys will probably be going home with the ball, and the middle guys will probably go for double play.
Just missed the corner. It's exactly where they wanted it. 3-2.
Yeah, Foxtrot could tell us exactly where this pitch was, and it was well in off the plate.
Walked him. That is the 3rd walk of the inning. Seattle has taken a 3-2 lead.
Well, Bruce had the right idea right there after pounding him inside for so long, and the outside was open. They just missed off the corner.
Casey Kochman 0 for 3. Got the call in the corner. Doesn't necessarily agree. No balls, 1 strike. 3 ground outs and a strikeout for Kochman. The Royals would like a 4th or a 3rd ground out. With the bases loaded, 1 away. One and one. Kochman facing Bruce Chen for the first time. Good pitch. Kochman opening up, looking for a pitch over the inside part of the plate.
I think the Royals have done a good job establishing themselves inside and surely guessing on that pitch right there. So really, Bruce is doing a good job of setting up the pitch he wants, but he's not making the pitch to where he can take advantage of it.
Seattle scoreless for the first 7 innings. They have 3 in the 8th. Kochman is down, 2 away. All 3 runs charged to Josh Roop. Runner at third base, Jose Lopez, and the runner at second, Eric Burns. The responsibility of Robinson Tejeda and Milton Bradley at first is Chen's responsibility. Right over the inside corner, 0-1 on Adam Moore, the 9th man to come up in the inning. All of this started with a strikeout. Josh Roop striking out Jack Wilson. And then the next 6 reaching base. Bunt single, 4-pitch walk, RBI single, then the deflected ground ball off of Robinson Tejeda's glove that ended up in center field for a double. And then back-to-back walks, 1 from Tejeda, 1 from Chen. And now there are 2 away. One and 2 to Adam Moore. Struck him out. Inning over, but Seattle scores 3 to take a 1-run lead.
And Billy Butler, who continue to have success against the Mariners. The Royals getting in position. We will explain, plus highlights, interviews, American League scoreboard, and much more coming up at the end of this game. Ryan and Frank, back to you.
Thank you, Joel. Pitching change for Seattle. It's Mark Lowe. He'll get Jason Kendall, Alex Gordon, and Mitch Meyer. So Lowe trying to do for David Ardsma what the Royals were unable to do for Joakim Soria in the top half of the inning. On one hand, it's another blown save for the bullpen, and they're 7th of the year, but the offense, I'm sure, thinks they should have produced more than 2 runs to this point. 2 runs on 8 hits with 3 walks from Ian Snell. That's 11 base runners in 7 innings. The Royals have left 9 on base, and several of those runners, in fact, the vast majority of those runners tonight left on base in scoring position.
Well, the Royals have really done a good job this year, Ryan, of getting on base. You know, they do have a team that can get on base, and then now it's just a matter of just getting them around the base and getting them across home plate. And sometimes when you haven't done that for Zach over the last year, and then you get into this season and the same thing, the trend seems to follow, then you try to put a little bit too much pressure on yourself to really score runs for him. But you just got to relax, and you only 1 run down. You got a chance to come back and win this ballgame.
Royals still with 6 outs on offense. And Kendall hits it hard to left, right at Bradley. Well, a tough luck out. Kendall 0 for 3. And now Alex Gordon. Alex 1 for 3, and one of the opportunities that slipped away. That hit was a leadoff double in the second inning. Mitch Myers, ground ball, got him to third with one out, but Betancourt and DeJesus couldn't get him home. Trey Hillman and Dave Owen, Royals third base coach, and bullpen coach Steve Foster, for that matter, aren't really in any mood for reminiscing at this point. But Mark Lowe on the mound and Adam Moore behind the plate. Both went to the University of Texas Arlington. So a UTA battery, if you will, and that's where Trey Hillman, Dave Owen, and Steve Foster went to college. Mark Lowe was taken in the 5th round by Seattle in 2004 out of the University of Texas Arlington. Another fly ball to left. And Bradley brings it down. So Ian Snell gives up 2 runs, 8 hits, and 5 1/3. The pitcher of record is Sean Kelly. He picked up Snell in relief with 1 out in the 6th. He retired all 5 he faced in the 6th and 7th innings. And now Lowe has retired the first 2. Mitch Meyer 1 for 2 with an RBI triple back in the 4th.
Well, that's a big triple from Mitch, Ryan, just to get some playing time and not only put the ball in play, but put the ball in play hard and drive the ball and hit that ball in a good spot. And when he gets on base with an opportunity to stretch it, he's going to stretch it.
Two balls, no strikes. Two and one. Mitch starting in his 3rd straight game. Rick Ankiel still bothered by the sore right quad.
Well, these are the times, Ryan, where if you're a backup player, you're not playing every day, and someone gets hurt for a little while, then this is what you got to work hard for in your practices and so forth, so you be ready for these at-bats.
3 up, 3 down in the bottom of the 8th. Three to 2 Seattle. Coming up here in the 9th inning against Bruce Chen. And Jack Wilson leading off. Wilson got a 3-run rally started with a strikeout in the 8th inning. After he struck out against Josh Roop, the next 6 Mariners reached. There were 3 walks in there, including one with the bases loaded that pushed ahead the go-ahead run. And now a fly ball to shallow right. David DeJesus makes the play, 1 down. Wilson 0 for 4. Bruce Chen coming on with the bases loaded and 1 out. Walked Milton Bradley to force in the go-ahead run, and then struck out Casey Kochman and Adam Moore. Two-hit game for Ichiro Suzuki. It was Suzuki, actually, who got the rally started after the Wilson strikeout. Laid down a nice bunt to the third base side for a single. Then Figgins walked on 4 pitches. Should be an easy play for Chen. There are 2 down. Gutierrez singled in a run. And the play that really turned the inning around, Jose Lopez hitting a ground ball over the mound. Robinson Tejeda trying to jump up and catch it. It went off of his glove and into shallow right center field. Alberto Callaspo was over near the bag, so he wasn't there to back him up. It resulted in an RBI double to tie the game. And Ken Griffey Jr. walked, Bradley walked, and the Mariners took the lead.
Figgins attempted a bunt right there, Ryan. When those O-4s, we call them O-4s, when they start to pile up, your brain starts thinking a little bit. You start, how can I get a base hit? You start thinking about bunting and things that you probably think about all the time, but when you're swinging, guys don't like to think about them. But you can say what a bunt did. What Suzuki got, things started with a bunt. And just a bunt base hit might be all he needs to get him going.
Past Alex and into left field. So there is the base hit, and it came on an 0-2 pitch. And you know that feels good. Figgins had been 2 for 34 for his base hit with 2 outs in the 9th inning.
So you can basically say that's a mistake on Bruce Chen right there. 0-2, too good a pitch for him to hit. He's been swinging it, chasing some bad balls, and that was just right in the zone.
Figgins has stolen 4. He has been thrown out 2 times. Back in 2005, he led the major leagues with 62 stolen bases, 52 the next year, then 41, 34, and last season with the Angels, he had 42. Gutierrez facing the lefty Bruce Chen. As a member of the Cleveland Indians, Franklin Gutierrez hit his first 3 major league home runs against Royals left-handers. And at that time, when he was playing with Cleveland, he was really only hitting against lefties. He homered against Andrew Sisco, Odalis Perez, and Jorge De La Rosa for his first 3 major league home runs.
Andrew Sisco, big hard throwing left-hander.
That'll be out of play. Andrew Sisco, not quite as effective as Joakim Soria as a Rule 5, but pretty close. I mean, he went from a typical Rule 5 where you kind of want to hide the guy, you don't want to expose him too much, and slowly as he pitched well, he became the Royals' left-handed setup man, and Royals could have traded Andrew Sisco at the height of his rookie year. A lot of teams thought, hey, I'll take a lefty at 6'9" or 6'10" or whatever he was.
And threw hard, too.
Royals in the bottom of the 9th will have Yuniesky Betancourt, David DeJesus, and Scott Posednik. And if they can get on, Billy Butler, Jose Guillen. Royals thinking that Figgins might take off. 1-0 1 ball, 2 strikes to Gutierrez. Still 1-2.
Gutierrez being played around the right field side and center field. Big gap in the left center field. You see Mitch on the right field side of second base. So if you're the hitter and you look out and you see that defense, you figure, okay, he's going to try to stay away from me because anything that's coming into me, it opens up that gap in left center field.
Now Figgins is running, and Gutierrez fouls it away. A couple of innings ago, Jason Kendall took one on the outside of his shoe where there's very little protection. And this one goes well. Good thing he had that little extra pad on the right shoulder.
Well, just off the point of that right shoulder, too. And that, before they used to put that deal there, catchers used to get those stingers right there, and that really hurt a lot.
Now, do you run automatically after that happens? Well, he didn't run. Chen strikes him out. Moot point. Royals are down to their last 3 outs. Betancourt, David DeJesus, and Scott Posednik coming up against Mariners closer David Aardsma. So Aardsma 6 out of 7 in save opportunities. So far, the Mariners bullpen has retired 8 straight. Sean Kelly got the last 2 outs of the 6th, retired the side in order in the 7th, and then Mark Lowe retired the side in order in the 8th.
But down by 1 here in the 9th, Ryan, with Uni leading off, you'd like to see him kind of work the count a little bit, try to make Aardsma throw as many pitches as he can. So what the Royals need now is base runners.
Betancourt singled his last time, 1 for 3 tonight, and 3 for 7 in the series. Breaking ball is in for a strike. Another strike. So the count goes to 1-2. Ardsma, very hard thrower. Had his breakout season last year with 38 saves. Kind of along the lines of Joe Nathan, who was originally from the Giants organization, went to the Twins with 1 career save, blossomed into an all-star. David Ardsma is from the Giants organization, bounced around 4 different major league organizations. No major league saves before last year and ended up with 38. And he has Betancourt out on a fly ball to right field. He was in the major leagues for parts of 6 years, 4 different major league organizations. No opportunities to be a closer. He was acquired by the Mariners for a pitcher named Fabian Williamson. Where's Fabian Williamson these days? Don't know. But David Ardsma, coming off of 38 saves last year, going for his 7th this year tonight.
Didn't sound like a baseball name.
Sounds like the guy that should be singing the national anthem before the game. David 1 for 4, singled back in the first inning. And he's down, no balls, 2 strikes. Before his 38 saves last year, David Ardsma's claim to fame was that he is first in the Baseball Encyclopedia, ahead of Hank Aaron, with the last name A-A-R-D-S-M-A. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Now the Mariners bullpen has retired the last 9. 2-2 on to Jesus. Lined into left field. So the Royals are still breathing. 2-hit game for DeJesus.
Yeah, David didn't try to do too much with this fastball, Ryan. Just stayed behind it, stayed inside of it, and served it into left field.
Pretty good bat, too, coming back from 0-2, evening the count.
Yeah, Royals are right back to the middle of the lineup, so you got the hottest hitter up, and followed by Billy Butler.
A little bit high to Scott Posednik. Lopez in. Middle of the infield, double play depth. We'll have to hurry with Posednik's speed. Like DeJesus, Posednik singled back in the first inning. 1-1.
Now Lopez is in, just trying to discourage Scott Posednik from thinking he can get a bunt down, and he comes in. But, you know, Scotty's been known to hit hard balls past third baseman, and that's the advantage that Posednik has right now.
One and two. Scott turning away quickly. Like to have that pitch back. He has faced Ardsma once and has singled. To Figgins. Throws to first, and now DeJesus is in a rundown. Well played by Sean Figgins, and the game is over. So the Seattle Mariners come back after the Royals had a 2-0 lead at the end of 7 innings. Seattle with 3 against the Royals bullpen. And they took game 2, 3-2. The series is tied at 1 game apiece. Here's the Chevrolet play of the game.
Now, this is the biggest play of the night right here, Ryan. This an infield ground ball that ends up becoming a double. You can see when Castro's playing behind Robbie Tejeda, and this ball goes right over the mound. And if he doesn't get a glove on it, the potential double play. But when he gets the glove on it, it redirected the ball to right field and ended up being a double for Lopez.
So that's how Seattle tied the game. Then a bases-loaded walk puts Seattle in front. So the Mariners snap a 4-game losing streak, and they've evened the series, winning tonight 3-2. Time now for Boulevard Royals Live.